Hey folks, back at Casa de Emmanuel, the first of 3 videos tonight. We're going to be talking to Lou Volino about a number of things that are going to be happening for the football season and a lot of new promotions that he's got happening too with a very special guest. We'll talk to those 2 gentlemen in just a couple of moments. But right now on the Comcast Sports Line, he is part of the Sports Medicine Division, the Allegheny Health Network Orthopedic Institute with the great Dr. Patrick DeMeo. He is Dr. Edward Snell, happens to be my family physician, but he's also here tonight to talk a little football because not only do they handle a ton of teams in Western Pennsylvania, but they've got the Brook Bruins, of course, you know them from West Virginia, and in Ohio, Indian Creek, and Steubenville Big Red. Reno Suckoch, of course, the head coach there in Franciscan University, which is that amazing school in Steubenville, Ohio. So, Ed, I want to talk about concussions and some of the symptoms. I'm going to talk headaches along with decreased cognitive function. That's about, simply not being able to concentrate. Pupil dilation, nausea, bruising, emotional outburst, disrupted sleep patterns. We've talked about all of this before. So those are some of the symptoms, but let's talk about treatment. And Dr. Simkovich, who I've had on many times from the Cranial Institute, all of that stuff that he's doing with hands-on approach. But clinically, what are you guys doing at the Allegheny Health Network Orthopedic Institute and all of your trainers when it comes to dealing with and diagnosing concussions? Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, so we're using special tools to be able to look at concussions and actually try to treat them. We treat them with different medications. We treat them with special tests to find out if the concussion has resolved or not. We're cutting edge of some of these things. We're actually looking at different proteins and stuff that can actually pick up whether or not somebody has a concussion. It's been a very, very arduous battle in this concussion. Prevalent in the news. It's everywhere. We're looking at proteins. We're looking at stimulating different parts of the brain to help it heal faster. We're looking at different physical therapy techniques and trying to do it better, faster. And we're also recognizing it earlier and we're treating it very conservatively to begin with, but trying to get people back to play and back to doing things quicker and more effectively.
Let me ask you about returning to play. That's a key, and I've talked to Dr. Simkovich about it before. And it really is in the eyes of the beholder, literally, on how someone is responding to treatment. But that's a very slippery slope when you make that decision to put somebody back in the lineup, especially when it's not their profession and they're playing at the amateur level in high school or college. So how do you approach that?
Yeah, you have to be very careful that you don't put people back to play too soon. A lot of people try to get kids back a little bit too soon, so you have to be very careful of that. And that's why we use special tests to look at whether or not people should come back to play quicker or not. We handle it by trying to treat everybody with a clinical pathway that allows them to get back safely and effectively without possibly causing harm.
I want to talk to you about some of the sports-related injuries that you deal with throughout the season. And I'll be at the Human Motion Center on Tuesday in Cranberry. We're going to elaborate a lot more. Dr. Snell, Dr. DeMeo, throughout the year, from time to time, we'll be doing some video blogs. And, of course, you can always reach the doctors at the Allegheny Health Network by calling 412-DOCTORS. And don't forget, same-day appointments. You call in the AM, you're seen in the PM. And every Monday night, I host, along with the great Dr. Gerald Pfeiffer, who is the mainstay of this amazing program entitled Medical Frontiers. And, of course, each and every week, it's a part of News Radio 1020 KDKA Tradition from 7 until 8 o'clock. Achilles tendons. We talk concussions. But I think of things that really can kind of keep you out of the lineup a long time. Concussions obviously being one. But Achilles tendons, that is something that can destroy one's season. But more importantly, on how you handle it as far as getting immediate treatment when it's diagnosed, most cases on the playing field. And then it's all about rehab and how they have to follow up week after week, month after month, and in many cases the player's season is normally gone. We've come a long way with minimally invasive surgery, but when it comes to Achilles tendon injuries, that's still very debilitating, isn't it, Ed?
It's very debilitating and takes a long time to heal, no matter if we do it surgically or we do it conservatively. But our techniques in physical therapy, the post-op course, have become so good at this point that we're able to get people better quicker and faster and more effectively and actually get them back to their play a lot safer without the recurrences that we used to see a long time ago. So some of the techniques we're using, different injections that we're using to try to make the tendon heal a little bit more effectively and not have as much problems down the line. have become just the mainstay at this point, at least in our network. Some of the other older networks obviously aren't as good.
Hey, by the way, tomorrow night I'll be at Jimmy Joe Savage's Legacy Studios. We'll meet the coaches. Of course, Josh Ludwig of East Liverpool, Moose Ramsey of Wellsville, Coach McKenzie in his first year at Beaver Local, and my friend Ted Arnaud Jr. from the Oak Glen Golden Bears, and my dear friend Reno Suckoch, of course, who Ed is the team physician of. I wish Big Red nothing but the best, and hopefully we'll have a chance to catch up with the coaches. We always do, sometime throughout the regular season. Okay, Eddie, let's get back to a couple of other ones. You know, we've all had shin splints one time or another, and in most cases early on we don't know what they are, but they're very painful. And one would think shin splints, but they can also keep someone out of the lineup. So first off, what do you do to treat them? But more importantly, how do you diagnose shin splints?
Well, shin splints are kind of one of those garbage bag terms to kind of incorporate any kind of pain in the lower leg. And we know now that some of that stuff we have to be very, very careful, because shin splints can be an underlying stress reaction. Sometimes you can misdiagnose a significant compartment syndrome that could be causing problems, which is pressure in the leg that is built up to the point where it's causing damage to muscles and nerves underneath. So we're trying to understand how to treat it better. Some of it's surgical. Much of it is not surgical. Much of it is just understanding the disease process and knowing how to treat the different maladies that could be causing the shin splints a little bit more effectively at this point. So understanding exactly what you're treating is extremely important.
All right, lower back pain, something as well can be nagging to say the least, but especially if you're a lineman, just getting down into that three-point stance, that can truly be a real pain. An ankle sprain, you know, I don't think people understand how important an ankle is, and many people have said, and I know you and Dr. DeMay have told me that sometimes a high ankle sprain can actually be worse than an ankle that breaks. So let's talk lower back pain and ankle sprain if we can, please.
So lower back pain, you have to be careful that you don't have significant problem with your disc or a stress fracture in the lower back. So if things don't get better and they continue to get worse, then you have to worry about a stress fracture. If things go down your leg all the way to the foot, then you worry more about a disc that's causing pressure on the nerves. Those are things that we really need to see quickly. If it's just a little bit of low back from a muscle spasm or something like that, they can be treated very effectively by changing how you're standing and getting a good core strengthening program going on, and sometimes just anti-inflammatories. If we shift gears and go to ankle sprains, yeah, most ankle sprains can take a couple weeks to get better if it's a simple ankle sprain. However, if there's a fracture in there, that takes maybe 4 to 6 weeks. But as Dr. DeMay said, if it's a high ankle sprain and those big-time ligaments are torn, sometimes that can take up to 3 to 6 months to get better. So those are things that we really have to keep an eye on.
Listen, Lou Volino, our resident bionic man for many years playing football, he's got about every joint replaced. But one of the ones that I've had a few friends recently get replaced, and this just goes to show you how amazing what you're doing in sports medicine today. Range of motion, it's talked about quite a bit in sports, but when it comes to the shoulder, that truly is range of motion. No matter what you're doing, throwing a baseball, football, shooting a basketball, it's very important. Talk about shoulder injuries and why they've become a very hot button, if you will, in the business of sports medicine, and it continues to evolve. And with minimally invasive arthroscopic surgery and even replacement down the road for arthritic conditions, a lot of folks who've been dealing with a ton of pain have been able to get back into the game of life. And of course, people dealing with it every day, if they work in a manufacturing plant, they're a physician, or even a broadcaster reaching for that microphone button, we're talking rotator cuff injury. So the shoulder, very significant, right?
Yeah, the shoulder can be significant, especially, you said if you don't use it, you lose it. So some people get frozen shoulders, and that can be really very hard to come back from, because what happens, you don't move it, you've injured it, the capsule kind of scars down, and now you can't move it very well. And some of those people really have a tough time getting the motion back, so motion is extremely important. And then allowing the rotator cuff to recover with good strengthening exercises, just to make sure the motion of the shoulder is able to continue to move the way it should. The shoulder is very, very mobile joint. It's like a golf ball and tee. It's extremely important in any kind of line of work, because you use your upper extremity just about for anything you can do. So it's extremely important to make sure that you're treated the right way and that you keep motion in your shoulder, even through an injury.
Yeah, the Nutting family, of course, owners of that great East Liverpool Review. Tomorrow the football tab comes out. Morning Journal, another one of their great papers. They, too, of course, the owners of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Mr. Schnell, along with Dr. DeMeo, team physicians of your Pittsburgh Pirates. Ed, always a pleasure. We'll see you at the Human Motion Center coming up Tuesday afternoon, okay?
I can't wait. Thanks, Rob.
Have a great night, everybody.